Hello everyone, nice to see you here live on Facebook. I normally start these videos with my face, but I'm not today because I've got far too much to share with you. The first one, before we get into the main class itself, is about Sale-a-bration. So Sale-a-bration has started. It is the biggest promotion of the Stampin' Up year, and it goes all the way from now all the way through to the end of March. It involves this book, but also these two fabulous catalogues as well. So, the way Sale-a-bration has three parts. The first one is about shopping. So every time you spend £45 in either of these two books, so that is the Spring, Summer or the annual catalogue, you get to choose something for free out of this fabulous brochure. And there are loads of things in here. There's card kits, there's stamps, there's a designer series paper. There are two items at the back of the catalogue, which are these ones. So there's the Celebrate You Thinlets and the Happy Wishes stamp set, and they both require you to spend £90, and then you can choose those as a free item. These are going to be in the next annual catalogue, so it's worth getting them for free, isn't it? You might as well before you have to pay for them. The second bit of Sale-a-bration is about shopping or hosting. So if you put in a really big order, if you collect your order for probably the next 6 months and put it in one go and spend £200, you'll get an extra £20 worth of stamping rewards, which you can then redeem against anything in these two catalogues. Now £20 plus the £200, the amount of stamping rewards you're going to get for £200 spend is £40. That's loads. You can get loads with that, and you can choose anything. There are hostess exclusive stamp sets, but you can literally anything you like. Or you can host a party with me, and if you want to host a party with me, either here on Facebook or live and in person if you live in Teesside, really, I will travel, but not massive distances. Just let me know, just drop me a message and we can get that sorted for you. The other part of Sale-a-bration is about joining and about becoming a member of a part of Stampin' Up and a member of my team. And this is something that I really want you to think about. If you've looked at this catalogue's arrived in the post with you, and you're thinking, oh, there's £90 odd worth of stuff I really like, think about the joining offer, because it's cost you £99. You then get to choose £130 worth of goodies, anything you like, again from these two catalogues, but you then get to choose another 2 stamp sets from these for free, so that could be up to £90 worth of stuff, plus you get free shipping on that order. Then you get 20% off and access to exclusive Facebook groups. You get a magazine. There's loads and loads and loads of stuff. So I would love you to consider that if you're thinking, oh, I've got £90, it's a £90 order, which is great, but think about that joining offer. Right, shall we get to stamping? Because I have 3 fabulous cards for you today. And they all use one of the stamp sets from the Spring Summer catalogue, which is Beautiful Day. And I'm loving this. It's so pretty, this butterfly. I could use this butterfly all day long. And I know I've only used it once on these cards. That's really bad, isn't it? I've also got these to play with today. These are Brusho, which are Stampin' Up. They're brand new to Stampin' Up. They're not new product. And they're not in Stampin' Up colours, they're not Stampin' Up exclusive. But we have 5 fabulous colours in the range now, which are amazing. So we've got Prussian Blue, Moss Green, Brilliant Red, Yellow, and a colour that's called Gamboge, which is, as you can see, is orange. I don't know why they can't just call it orange. It can't be simple, can it? So I've got a couple of cards that are going to use those, and one card that doesn't really need any colouring at all. So, shall we get started? Right. If this is your first time here with me on Facebook, I go live once a month-ish. This is my free online class. This happens literally once a month, and the dates for the next one will be posted this week. And then there's probably going to be some kind of extras, because I really enjoy doing Facebook Live. So this is the first card I've got for you today. And this is a case card of one of the ones in the catalogue. And I've actually seen, there's a video of them making this over on, I think it's the Stampin' Up YouTube channel. And they've not used designer series paper, they've used washi tape. But I'm going for designer series paper today. And this is in blue. Now, I was going to change the colour, but I'm going to stick with blue, I think. Yes, let's stick with blue. I've had one of those days today where my brain isn't really working. So I have chosen the designer series paper. This is from the eclectic something or other from the annual catalogue. I've got a piece of watercolour paper, and I've already gone ahead and heat embossed the sentiment on a piece of basic black. And I don't know how well you can see this, but I've also stamped and heat embossed that butterfly too, because that kind of is the bit that takes all the time with this card. That and waiting for the Brusho to dry. So I've got a piece of scrap paper, because Brusho can get quite messy, and I get messy enough as it is. So, along with your Brusho, I think you need two other things, and they are the set of aqua painters. You get 2 aqua painters in a pack. You get one with a blue cap and one with a white one. They are different thicknesses. This one's got washi tape on it. I use when I'm splattering white ink, but this one is the one I tend to use with my Brusho, because it's actually stained the nib of my aqua painter. I also really like using a Stampin' Spritzer, and these are fab. I think you get 2 or 3 in a pack, and they're great value. So I'm going to take my aqua painter. There's quite a bit of water in there, and I am going to put water all over my butterfly. And I'm not keeping in between the lines. I'm literally just getting water all over. And I'm going to make sure it's nice and wet. And then I'm going to take my Brusho. And in here is kind of crystals of colour. They call it literally, yeah, crystal colour, I think is the official name for it. And it's just like bits of watercolour. But there's so much pigment in there that you can see as soon as you get it wet, it starts to spread out, and you get some really, really cool and really fun effects. So I am going to use my aqua painter again just to spread that colour out a little bit. You don't need a lot of crystals, because they are so pigmented. Now I have realised in the middle of this that I have forgotten my kitchen roll, because I would advise that you kind of blot off onto kitchen roll. So I am going to just see if I can blot off onto my scrap paper. Today is one of those busy days where I've had a training call and I've been filming and all sorts, so there's lots going on, and I've just started to forget things. So that is like quick and easy how to use Brusho. It's so fast. We just need that to dry. So shall we make the next card while we're waiting for that one to dry? That's probably sensible, isn't it? So I'm going to just put that off to one side a second. And this is my second card. Now, I love this flower, but I sat there for ages trying to work out what on earth I was going to do with it, and then stamped it and couldn't then bring myself to colour it in, which is how I came up with this card. So I've got the flower, and I've got these. Now this cute little stamp is actually little flowers, but I've got to say I thought it was sequins. Did anybody else see sequins in there? Was that just me? Probably just me, because it usually is, but hey. So we've got a card base in Bermuda Bay, and I cut all my card bases exactly the same. They all start life as an A4 sheet, and I cut them down the middle and score them in half to make 10-fold cards. The main reason for that is because they photograph better. So when I'm blogging and photographing them, they look better photographed. But if I'm sending one, if I'm making one to send, I tend to fold it the other way. Yeah, no idea. Things happen in my head. They should probably stay there. So I'm going to stamp my flowers or sequins in Bermuda Bay first. So there are 3 little stamps on this stamp, and we're going to stamp them all the way down. I'm going to move things around so that we have a kind of strip of flowers that go all the way down one side, but I don't want them to be kind of all in the same place, so I will move things around a bit. Put one in there. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Does anybody else see sequins? Right. And then I have a scrap of Whisper White and this big flower stamp. So basic black ink, and I don't know if anyone's noticed, these are Basic Black and Basic Grey have a different kind of ink pad, and it's really hard to show on camera, but it's got a cloth, a linen finish, so you have to push a little bit harder to get your ink, to get your stamp inked, because the ink is slightly away from the surface, so it can take a little bit of practice. And you don't, with our traditional ink pads like this one, you can see there's no linen on the top there, it's shiny. That won't ever be shiny, and you want to gently tap that one, which I regularly get that wrong myself. So right, need to give that a moment to dry. I'm having a problem with my Basic Black ink at the moment where it's smudging. And I think it's just because I'm not giving it enough time to dry in between everything else that I'm doing. So let's very carefully try and cut this out. Now I did think about making it completely flat on Facebook Live, and then thought, no, you know what? You can all watch me fussy cut. It doesn't. I'm out to prove that fussy cutting, one, doesn't take that long. And two, that I can actually do it, because it's not the easiest thing in the world. I am trying to leave a white border around the outside. So I do have some top tips for fussy cutting, just like I have top tips for just about everything else. And that is that you want to keep your scissors as still as you can, and move the paper. She says moving her scissors all over the place, but you know, that's literally... That's the way to do it, is to kind of try and keep your scissors still, so that you can then kind of limit the number of times you do that. Because every time you do that, you're at risk of kind of moving, and that's when things become uneven. So there we go. See, not really that. I dread to think how long this is going to take me. I'll find out when this video will go up onto YouTube. It goes live on YouTube on Sunday, when you will be able to find my Facebook live class replay over on my blog. And if you subscribe to my newsletter, now if you're watching, I think there's a sign up link on my Facebook page, I need to check that actually. Sign up to my newsletter, and next Monday there will be kind of exclusive class content in my newsletter. I wish I knew what that was, because I haven't actually decided yet. That's the way I tend to roll at the moment. Anybody else running by the seat of their pants at the moment, or is that just me? So I have also then heat embossed the sentiment on a strip of Bermuda Bay. Heat embossed in white again. I'm a bit obsessed with doing this at the moment. I think people are going to get really sick of seeing all my cards with heat embossed sentiments, and they're all white on coloured cardstock, because I just love it. I just think it's really pretty. So to assemble the card, we're going to pop fast fuse on the back of that strip of Whisper White. I do use fast fuse a lot. It was my birthday last week. I've got to tell you the story. It was my birthday last week, and my husband makes my birthday card. He does it every year, because every year before he started making them, I would complain that I make all these lovely birthday cards for people, and I never ever get a handmade card back myself. So my husband now goes out of his way and makes me a birthday card. So the other week, he came into my office and said, I need you out of your office so that I can make a card. And I went, okay, that's fine. And he was so proud of the card. I should have brought the card that he made, but he was so proud of the card he made, and it was lovely. What story was I telling? Husband made a birthday card. No, you know what that's... Oh, my brain. He made me such a nice card as well. I was very impressed. It had die cutting on it and sponging, and he was very proud of it. Very, very proud of it. And I love the fact that I then get a birthday card that actually been handmade. So, that was it. And he was complaining that he couldn't find my snail adhesive. That was what I was after. So I use Fast Fuse all the time. Fast Fuse sits on my desk all the time. And I have a snail adhesive that sits on my desk all the time. But I don't use this. So when James was looking for the glue he wanted to stick everything together, he couldn't find my Fast Fuse. I don't know why, because it was sat there. I need a dimension under. It was sat there on my desk. It was just behind the adhesive that he'd already picked up. So he then sat there on my birthday complaining that he couldn't find the glue that he'd wanted to make my birthday card with. Now, Snail is really easy to use. Snail, you literally just pull it back and let go. Fast Fuse, you need to make a tick mark at the end. James couldn't get the hang of this, so he's used half a roll of Fast Fuse trying to make the birthday card because he said it just wouldn't come off. It kept... I have pointed him. I do have a video on how to use Fast Fuse and I have pointed him at it. Maybe next year. Okay, so that is the second one of our cards. I actually think that looks better than the first time. I don't know about anybody else. Right, so let's see if this one's dry. Yeah, I think that's probably dry enough for us to assemble. So we have already gone ahead and heat embossed and stamped our butterfly, or I did that before, and I've used Brusho to colour in the butterfly. So I have then, this is thick Whisper White cardstock that I've made into a card. I've got my strip of designer series paper and yet another heat embossed sentiment. So this card is really simple actually to put together once you've done that bit of Brusho. So we're going to put that bit of designer series paper down at the bottom. I am going to add Fast Fuse onto the back of my watercolour paper. I use a lot of adhesive on the back of watercolour paper because it's thicker and it tends to come unstuck. So like that. I want a strip of dimensional adhesive for my sentiment. This one I've kept flat, but I do like to mix things up a little bit when I do my Facebook Lives. Like that. And then on this one what I've done is I've taken some baker's twine and I've tied it all the way around, so there is baker's twine in the middle of the card, but that's okay, and tied a bow with it. But that isn't that, I mean, it could be quicker and simpler if it wasn't using Brusho, but I still think that's lovely. So third and final card. Now I have a confession because I haven't actually finished this card yet. I started to make a card and I got halfway through it and thought, it's nice, but that it doesn't go. So that is going to go on another card and I will share that with you probably on Sunday on my blog. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this card base either. But I've got it all again. So I've got my basic black card base, my piece of Whisper White, and my piece of designer series paper. This, I know where this is from. This is from Pick a Pattern, which is a pack of designer series paper that's in the annual catalogue. I would never have bought. I've got to hold my hands up, I would never have bought it. And I got some in a share and I absolutely love it. It's great. So that on there, and then I've got my square because I prepped the card. I'd done everything for it, and I'd prepped two so I could make one with you. And I've heat embossed the flower on it and everything, and that just doesn't work. But what I've done with this here is this is Brusho, but this is Brusho used as watercolour. So I coloured in the areas I wanted the colour, sprinkled the Brusho, dried it with my heat tool, and then moved on to the next bit. And it's pretty. It is pretty. It just doesn't go with that card at all. So yes, Catherine, I love it. I would never have bought that designer series paper at all, Catherine. I really wouldn't have done. Right, so I still need to make this card. And I'm going to Brusho onto here because I've got all my Brushos out and I've got this piece handy. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use yellow and I'm going to use the gamboge. And just so you can see what the difference is really. So I'm going to sprinkle before I put water on, because this is the other thing with the other way you can use your Brusho is first, when we did the butterfly, we coloured with water and then we added the Brusho. This time we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to add the Brusho on first. So that's the gamboge. That's orange. It's kind of orange and it's got red bits in it as well. So it they're not one flat colour. And then I'm going to take my spritzer, remove everything out of the way because this tends to make things go all over. And I'm going to spritz. That's so pretty. I'm going to take that's gamboge, I want yellow. I'm going to take the yellow and I'm going to add some more colour on there. And you can see, I think that actually shows really well that that's not one flat colour, is it? It really is kind of multiples. It's so pretty. So I've probably still got blue ink on my, oh no, on my aqua painter. So I'm going to move that around just so that the flower is all all coloured. And then I'm going to leave that to dry rather than completing the card here on Facebook. I'm going to let that dry and I will finish the card for you and share with you on my blog on Sunday. So if you're watching this on YouTube, the link in the description bar will be to the blog post and you'll be able to see this card. It will be there, I promise. So before I go, because that is all the cards I've got for you today, I will bring them back in so you can see them. I just want to remind you about that fabulous joining offer with Sale-a-bration. The other thing I need to remind you about is my Designer Series paper shares. So I have got two paper shares, well, two shares running at the moment, product shares. One is paper only and the other is everything in the catalogue. So they're both from this spring-summer. And one of them is all the Designer Series paper. The other share includes all the extras. So all of let me get here, where are we? This is Picture Perfect Pattern, Picture Perfect Party Suite. There we go. And as well as the Designer Series paper, let me just share this with you. Here we go. So as well as this Designer Series paper, you're also going to get the mini binder clips. You're not going to get the ribbon, unfortunately, because that's unfortunately been discontinued because they've not been able to get it from China. There's been some issue somewhere. So here this is the, oh, what they're calling it, the Sweet Soiree Suite. Oh, I can't say that. You've got the Designer Series papers, that's what comes in the paper share. But with the everything share, you're also going to get the ribbon, the baker's twine, and not including the Ready Shreddy because that was really complicated. And you get half an embellishment kit. So there's loads and loads of that. All the information on those two shares is over on my blog. You get heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff. And before you all disappear, there is always my January code club. So this is the code you need to be putting in at checkout when you shop this month, and that will get you a card kit that will help you to make all of these cards. The Brusho and the stamps are not included, but all the paper products that I've used today. And there may be a special something in there as well, depending on how generous I'm feeling at the end of the month. I may include some extra goodies as well. So, thank you ever so much for joining me here on Facebook. It has been a pleasure as always. 25 minutes long, but you know what? I think that 25 minutes was worth it, don't you? Right, I will see you again really, really soon. Don't forget that anything that you like in any of my videos, the same spiel as I do on YouTube, is available in my online store. I will make sure the link to that is in the description. It will be up there, won't it? Once I've finished, because I was going to go live and then realised I hadn't put the done the description for this video, so that will be up in the top if you're watching it on replay. And I'll see you again really soon. Bye for now.